Hey, it's Cosmic Trials, and I'm back with some Turbo Gobbo. Yeah, I thought I'd start with Decktech before we got into the gameplay. So, I realized after finishing 2 leagues with this deck is not just a combo deck, it's also an aggro deck, because you need more than one attack step to win quite frequently. Like, a lot of those games, I was unable to kill them in one, and sometimes it just took turns and turns and turns. So it's a mix of both. So that means the card draw wasn't as necessary as I thought. So I've gotten rid of the Witch's Mark to put Arcbound Tracker back in because it is a very strong card in this deck. So he's back in there. Well, has a potential to be. Has a very high ceiling and a very low floor in terms of how it would play. The Menace is great. The +1 counters, like I've had this thing be like 16, 16, 14, 14, like, and even when it's just like a 7/7, which you can do quite easily. It's very powerful. And the Menace means that it really helps your attackers go through. So he's back in. I've also worked on the sideboard a bit to make that a little better. Yeah, so I've also decided to run the Simian Spirit Guide and over the Desperate Ritual, and that's because of Geothermal Crevasse, and also because it's a creature. And even though, yes, the exile effects, I can't use this mana ability, like, whatever. It's so good in this deck, because, like, sometimes you have enough mana and you just want to cast out a guide. Like, it's great that this ritual can be a creature. I've decided to only run 2, again, because of the fact that when it's cast in exile, you can't rely it as a ritual. And also, with Geothermal Crevice, you can't go, like, if that's your only land, or your only, like, source of mana, besides Simian Spirit Guide can get you there for, like, a Seething Song or a Name Sticker. It can't, if this was Desperate Ritual, it would not work with Crevasse, so it should have always have been Simian Spirit Guide. Yeah. So basically the deck's fairly straightforward. You run these big mana lands to either go off on turn 3 or to hold up in order to create a ritual effect, or like a larger ritual effect if you wanted to, if you feel like you're forced to play through either a lot of counter magic or potentially into a field wipe on their next turn. Then you would need to build up more mana and try and kill them in one shot. Yeah, so how you do that is you usually need a Goblin or Narcomancer, although it is possible to do it by having enough Goblin Matrons in your hand and enough initial rituals to just kind of go Matron, Sticker, and this you'd also need to have Goblin Bushwhackers in your hand as well. And you can kill them that way without the Narcomancer, but usually you need the mana reduction because that just... it's like a super ritual almost. It makes everything so much cheaper and really helps you chain the Goblin Matrons. And that's kind of the combo of the deck. You're using Goblin Narcomancer and Goblin Matron. This combination plus Seething Song, Namesticker Goblin, like Lotus Petal, like the standard rituals of many combo decks, allows you just to flood the field and then cast a Goblin Bushwhacker with your final Goblin Matron and swing out for sometimes lethal, but usually like, 15, 16 damage. You'll see it during the gameplay. Mutagenic Growth here is for protection against bolts. It will protect my Name Sticker Goblin. Battlefield other than a graveyard or exile. Oh, if it's on the battlefield. Okay, cool. I was wondering about that. I never actually read that part. I was thinking, wait, with that, did they change the rules? Could you bolt Burning Tree Emissary and now it wouldn't have the mana? But no, it's specific to the Namesticker Goblin, so that's good. Yeah, so so you're using this in order to flood the field and try and kill them in one shot. Another kind of alternate win condition is to have an Arcbound Tracker on the battlefield. Now, while this works with Goblin Matron, that's one of the ways you get it to be huge. You'd have 2 Necromancers, 1 mana Goblin Tracker into Goblin Matron. Automatically, that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, assuming you have enough mana, +1/+1 counters on the Arcbound Tracker, which makes it a 7/7. So it's very good in this deck. You can make it huge on very low resources, is what I'm trying to say. And yeah, the other half of the deck is sometimes you don't have the Goblin Bushwhacker. Even though you have 4 Bushwhacker, 4 Matron, sometimes you miss. So sometimes if you feel like you need to go off on turn 2, usually it's with like a lot of Burning Tree emissaries or a mixture of BTE and Namesticker. You can put like 6 creatures on the battlefield or something like that on turn 2. Now that's not really a combo because you're just using the ETB of the, you're not really using the ability besides to like chain creatures. It's just the cards themselves. But it sometimes is enough. So that's kind of, and sometimes, you know, like you get disrupted, you just have to swing in. So that's kind of why it's a mixture of, it's a cross between an aggro deck and a combo deck. And which is a lot of fun. Actually, I've been enjoying it quite a bit. And the way it plays kind of suits the Goblin flavor as well. So it's been a pretty fun Goblin tribalish combo aggro deck. And here's the sideboard. The gut shots in there mostly for, well, I guess we'll just say any 1/1 that you want to kill, particularly Krog-Clan Shaman. For a Pyroblast, you're pretty much a mono red deck. So that's going to be important. Flaring Pain for, you know, all the fog effects that are out there. Mutagenic Growth to help your against, you know, bolts and such. By the way, this deck seems to have a very good burn matchup. And 3 Duresses for maybe Field Wipe, depending on how the deck's built, mostly for Weather the Storm. And that's the deck. Let's go into the gameplay. Alright, this is the next match. This is of the same league I was playing in. My second league, which I went 3-2 in. And this was against Burn, which seems to be a pretty good matchup. So let's see how I did. Keeping this is a turn 3 Namesticker Goblin if they tap out, which they do. So I'm going to go boom boom, Namesticker Goblin. Now against Burn, one of the reasons why it's a great matchup is like they'll have a hard time dealing with me, so I'm kind of inclined to not like go as deep with the combo. And I go Ren's Resolve, revealing Lotus Petal and Witch's Mark. I get rid of the green because of the chance of drawing multiple Bushwhackers. I go Ren's Resolve. I go exile 2 more cards, kind of conceding I'm not going to go for it this turn. And then I cast the Lotus Petal, which I shouldn't have done because of Artifact Hate, and decide that I'll just try for a bigger turn next turn. Alright. And our opponent goes Monastery Swiftspear, missing their second land drop. So now I can go for a big turn. I cast Goblin and Archomancer, making this Manamorphose a ritual, adding probably red. And then I can go Lotus Petal, because I want the mana. I don't want the discard, because I need that 2 mana in order to cast this Namesticker Goblin. So I can go Namesticker Goblin, then I can go Witch's Mark, just making it a 3/3. And then I can go Goblin Bushwhacker Kicked, and I'll save this Mutagenic Growth to pump whichever one they don't block. And they concede. And that was 3, 6, 10, 15, 17, 19 damage. And of course, they could have blocked 2 of them. Alright, on to game 2. Okay, game 2 of the Burn match. They go Mountain and they hold it up. And I go Sandstone Needle. I guess they just drew that Voldaren Epicure and they play another, or they had the Fear in them, that's also possible. So I just go Goblin Matron and I grab myself that Anarchomancer. And the reason why I do that is because I have a Mutagenic Growth to protect it. Hopefully they can't make 3 artifacts this turn, and I doubt they'd leave 2 open. So this will allow me to get that discount and turn this Manamorphose into a ritual, and hopefully maybe potentially find another ritual, because right now that gives me 2 extra mana, so that's 3 5 mana. So I'd have 3 mana floating after this Goblin and Archomancer resolves. But I feel like it's a good shot. They go Implement a Combustion, giving them 2 artifacts. They almost have Galvanic being 4 open. I don't block. Instead I go sack the Needle into BTE, adding red-green. And now I can go Goblin and Archomancer. And I'll go Manamorphose and I'll Ritual, adding red, and I draw another Sandstone Needle. So this Impulse costs 1, so I can still cast it. Of note, I still have 2 mana available, which is enough to cast any of the 3 mana rituals in my deck. And I hit 1. I also hit a mountain, so I can play that mountain and hold this Simian Spirit Guide for potentially casting. I can go name Sticker Goblin. And that provokes the bolt out of them, but I have the mutagenic growth, so that survives. And now I add 6 mana, so that was very lucky, because that allows me to go Goblin Matron. Oh, that's right, it casts 2, never mind, but still, pretty good. And I grab... Oh, and the opponent concedes, because I guess they see the writing on the wall. Because that could just get a second copy of Goblin Bushwhacker, which is likely what I was going to get. So, yeah, the 6 mana was pretty relevant there. Alright, because that would have been lethal. That would have been, let's count, get rid of this somehow. There we go. That would have been 6, 9, 13, 17, 20, 22, 25, or 25, 23, 25 off of the 2 Goblin Bushwhackers. Alright. And that was the burn match. And this next match is going to be from my latest league, which I'm one in. This was a game from my most recent completed league against Top Grinder. Let's see how it went. All right. So this is a pretty good hand. I'm looking for probably trying to go off on turn 2. It doesn't have everything I need, but I really like the Goblin Anarchomancer. I kind of need this Ren's Resolve to hit some action, though. Alright, let's see how it goes. And our opponent plays a Forest and a Crayon Rager. So that could be a lot of different things. Let's, it's either probably Walls or Elves. Actually, I know it's Elves because I played, this is in the past, this is playback. And there's a BTE, going to go Goblin and Anarchomancer now. So all of my, these XL effects cost 1. Let's see if I can chain off here. Impulse into more mana. Now, here I was thinking if I go more mana and this Ren's Resolve misses, then I'm out this Seething Song. So instead I'm like, they just have 1 Curion on the battlefield in the forest. What's the worst that can happen? And just decide to go Ren's Resolve. And this is kind of like the worst that could happen. I just hit 2 more Namesticker Goblins, so I got punished because without the option of drawing a haste next turn, which maybe I will. This isn't very. I just drew more mana basically, and I'd rather have these Namesticker Goblins on the battlefield. All right. Well, and our opponent goes Birchlore Ranger into Elite Vanguard. Okay, so I go Namesticker Goblin, Simian Spirit Guide, pass a turn, and I lose the Seething Song anyway. So that was not a good play. But, I'm still learning. This is my second league with the deck, so, I mean, I'm not going to be perfect right away. And here they played that Lizalana, which is going to make this very difficult. I decided to swing in. I was really hoping just to top a Goblin Bushwhacker there, because then they couldn't block with this Lizalana favorably. And they're at 8. They go a second copy of Elite Vanguard. And they go Winding Way, revealing a Distant Melody. I can now get 1 Goblin Bushwhacker, and I'll play it kicked. They will untap a 1/1 to chump with, or to actually trade with one of my 1/1s, we'll see. Yes, and they go down to 2. But I believe the door has shut. Yeah, they're just going to make a ton of blockers now. They have 4 cards in hand. Yeah, it's not good. So I concede, and we move on to game 2. Okay. And we're back for game 2. Okay, let's see how I boarded. So I just brought in 2 Gutshot and took out 2 Mutagenic Growth. Maybe it would have been better to bring in the 3rd Gutshot as well and board out one of my in this game I had a different deck list. I had the Witch's Mark was in there. I went with the SSG build that I posted on my in one of my videos there. So that so I'd only brought in the 2 gut shot. Took out 2 mutagenic growth. Let's take a look. So I kept this hand. All it needs is and the reason why I kept this hand is because I'm playing against Elves. This is a turn 1 Goblin and Archomancer plus a BTE, so that means it's only 1 mana for me to Rend Resolve next turn, hopefully hitting more land. So that's why I kept that. That was the line I went for. So there's BTE into Goblin and Archomancer, turn 1. And our opponent goes Find Horde Elves. And I go that was very good. Let's see if I can get lucky off this. Yeah, I do. So I top deck a Mountain and a Manamorphose. So that means I can cast this Seething Song. Play Mountain, I go Manamorphose, going red into Seething Song. Second Matron was good. That allows me to grab this Namesticker Goblin. And to another Namesticker Goblin, that was good. Into a Matron, and here's one of the reasons why I cut this Witch's Mark. It's only going to be adding 1 point of damage here. This would have been much stronger as a dog. Although, to be fair, I wouldn't have been able to cast a dog this game. Anyway, our opponent conceded. I would have played this Goblin Matron, grabbed a Bushwhacker, swung in for 3, 6, 9, 12, 11, 13, 15, 17, 18. All right, on to game 3. Okay, and we're back for game 3. Let's take a look. I'm going to keep this. It's 1 mana off of double ritual. They go Llanowar Elves, I go Mountain. I'm trying to get a Lotus Petal or an SSG, Simian Spirit Guide. They go Jaspera Central and Nettle Sentinel, 2 Sentinels. I draw a Gut Shot, allowing me to slow them down just a bit there. And they go Essence Warden. Now, while this looks like, maybe I should have saved that for an Essence Warden, I still think it's worth taking them down mana. I would have done it again. Yeah. So let's go to my turn. I take 2 bold moves, swing in with that Nettle Sentinel, and let's see what I do. I'm going to play this Mountain, so I do it the hard way, and I go Namesticker Goblin. They gain 1 life, adding 5 mana. I go Reckless Impulse. So now I have Matron, Manamorphose, and Witch's Mark revealed. Goblin Matron is the one from the previous turn. Okay, next I go Seething Song again into Witch's Mark, discarding that Mountain. So here Witch's Mark is like still kind of redundant. I have these 2 other ones, but it does make it a 3/3. Very good draw on that Goblin Bushwhacker. So now I can go Manamorphose. I'm trying to hit a little more mana here. That was great. So that Namesticker Goblin allows me to cast more of this card draw. And there's a Gut Shot, which lets me deal with this Essence Warden. So I need to be watching my mana a little bit, because for example, I just had 6 mana there. I could have gone Goblin Matron, find Namesticker, play Namesticker, Bushwhacker. But then the fun kind of ends. And I wanted to keep going off because Elves can easily make enough blocker. So here, instead of being like, all right, is that enough? Should I be the aggro deck? You go, no, you need to combo against them. So the deck you're playing against will affect what type of line you choose. Obviously, of course, but that's what I mean by this is a combo aggro deck. All right, let's keep watching. I'm going to go Gut Shot on that Essence Warden into Manamorphose, adding red-green just in case. And I go Lotus Petal into... And here I'm thinking, oh no, because I can't double Bushwhacker. So this is I keep thinking, Reckless Impulse or Goblin Matron. Can I get lucky? But here I take the more disciplined choice. and go Goblin Matron, and I'm going to grab another name sticker Goblin. Oh, no, I don't. Oh, I don't have the, sorry. I thought I had the Goblin and Archimage in the battlefield. I don't. So I only swing in for 7, 11. Not too much. Probably may have been better for me to hold back that Goblin Bushwhacker. But anyway, that Llanowar Elves I killed game 1 was apparently enough to slow them down enough that that worked. So that was kind of more like an aggro play than a combo play. All right, on to... Oh, that was game 3, so that was the match. All right, I'll see you for the second match of this same league. I believe it was the final match. I went 3-2, losing to UB Terror-ish. It was a Baco's Baco Deji, as I ever pronounced that. His builds was a little spicy, and a UR deck, I forget, was piloting that one, and I won against another UR control as well. All right, on to the next match. All right, we're back for the final match of this video. This one is game 1 of my most recent league. It's also the only game I've played of it. I played it immediately after finishing the previous league, where I went 3-2. But it left me feeling like this deck's pretty strong, because 3 of those matches were pretty bad matchups. 2 UR and 1 UB, tempo control. So UB seemed really bad. UR didn't seem as bad as I thought. So this will be game 1 of my current league. Okay. So here, I'll keep it. It has the mana I want. Might not be a turn 2 though. Let's see. Our opponent goes Island into Fairy Seer. So I decide to take advantage of the fact that they don't have that it might be mono blue. And I go this into an Archomancer into the Crevice. And they go Augur Bolus, revealing counter spell. Oh, and I'm going to give you a warning. I misclick very, very badly this turn. I had about a little too much coffee to drink, and I went outside to have a smoke, and I started getting a little shivery, and I have a very sensitive mouse. That almost cost me this game. However, it was still enough, even with the misclick, to allow me to pull it out, but still, wow. That was so trigger warning here. All right, there's that into Seething Song, into Goblin Matron, getting Goblin Matron, and here is the misclick. Goblin Matron, and I grab a name sticker Goblin. Unfortunately, that was bad. So I needed to draw a second Bushwhacker, because that would have been lethal. This, and also kill the Augur Bolus if they blocked. It was a pretty brutal one. They would be dead right now had I done that properly. And yeah, see, they have a red mana. Who knows what they could have done with that? But fortunately, they couldn't have done enough. And on to game 2. I took out 2 Arcbound Tracker, although there is a pretty good argument for leaving those in against Field Wipe. I won't get into it now. And I also took out 2 Simian Spirit Guide. And I added 3 Pyro and 1 Mutagenic Growth. Okay, let's see how we did. Mulligan, and I'll keep that. So I decided to put back the BTE rather than the Reckless Impulse or the Pyro. Didn't really want to get rid of my Pyro, and it's asking a lot at a Reckless Impulse, but I think just a 2-2 on turn 1 against UR isn't, doesn't feel very good. So let's see how I did. They go Island, and I go Needle, and I pass. They go Island, and I go Needle, and I pass. I'm not going to play this into counter magic plus lose a card plus a counter on my land. And now I go for it. Nothing. And I just play a Geothermal Crevasse. I guess they're worried about me going off, which is quite telling. It means that 3 mana might not be enough for them. So I untap, and I play a Mountain into Ren's Resolve, and I'm going to pause here. So that was a pretty good hit. I was just waiting for something, and because I have 2 Bushwhacker in hand, I wanted to get going, maybe do do like one of these Bushwhackers, provoke them into using Field Wipe, and then try and go off again as like a worst case scenario. Best case scenario, I just get extremely lucky off this Manamorphose. So I go Seething Song, and they go Counterspell. I sack the Needle, and I go Pyroblast, your Counterspell. And they don't counter back, giving me 6 mana. So now I can Manamorphose and hope to draw more mana. Red, and I'll probably add a green here. Oh, I don't. I choose not to because of these double Bushwhackers. That hits me another Goblin Matron, which allows me to risk it. If this player had a Hydroblast, I feel like they would have played it, so I decided to go Goblin Matron into the Name Sticker Goblin to give me a couple more creatures for this Goblin Bushwhacker. And hopefully the Name Sticker Goblin can hit 6 mana, because that would allow me to continue going. Oh, I played the BTE here first because the green prevents me from playing double Bushwhacker. I go Name Sticker Goblin. That tells me they don't have Hydro. Adding 6 mana, got pretty lucky there. Now I can go Goblin Matron into yet another Name Sticker Goblin. There we go. And no matter what, this lets me cast both Bushwhackers. And even if they have the Hydro but decided not to play it for some reason, I still have the Pyroblast for protection. Alright. And that was the first match of my current league against UR. Okay. And that's the video. Alright, have a good one.